What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It is your host, Malik Washington, back at it again with another episode of the Breaking Mental Barriers podcast. How are you all doing this fine day or evening, wherever you all reside? Hope you all are doing well and you're succeeding in all of your endeavors and you're accomplishing your goals and you're having the best relationships and you're having the best things that life has to offer if you're working towards it. I hope and pray that everybody is well with good health and good fortune. I hope you all will be able to learn something from listening to what I have to say tonight for this episode. But I guess it's more opinionated than anything because this is basically going to be a conversation regarding the State of the Union address that happened the other night, which I did watch in full. Hopefully, this video won't be too long and I won't keep you guys because, again, this is just something opinionated. I have an opinion about it. I'm sure a lot of you have your opinions about it, negative and positive, and that's fine. We all can have our agreements and disagreements, and I expect that. Because clearly there's people that love the hell out of Trump. There's people that clearly hate his guts. And I saw all of that last night, and much of it definitely proves that there is a polarization within our political sphere. And it's been like that for quite some time. It's unfortunate, but at the same time, it is the reality of our current situation as a United States. Ironically, being called united, yet we are a divided state of people. To be quite frank, if we're keeping it real. But at the end of the day, do you really expect all humans to agree and be in unison on every single issue in life? Absolutely not. And that's just the way that it comes to be. There were a lot of distasteful things that had happened during the State of the Union. Some decorum issues, some cordial issues, lack of respect, I would say. But at the end of the day, it is your absolute choice to decide how you wish to pursue some of these matters. You can take lessons from it. You can learn from it. And you can say to yourself, if you decided to be put in that predicament or go into that situation, whether if that is something that you too would have done or you would have done it quite differently. At least in some of these instances I'm going to mention, I kind of hope so for you, the best of you. But if not, lessons have to be learned, and we all have to learn the hard way. So much of what I saw, for the most part, wasn't really a surprise. I mean, again, that's the spirit that the Democrats were clearly operating under. But again, it's also nothing new that this Congress and the past Congress with the Republicans, there are the typical instances of interruptions that tend to happen when presidents are speaking and things of that nature. You know, there's a time for everything. There's a time to applaud. There's a time to disagree. There's a time to agree. There's a time to stand, a time to sit, yada, yada, yada. But it seems like in this instance, it was quite intentional to be rude. It was intentional to be an ass. It was intentional to disrupt the current president's speech as he was going on and on about his accomplishments, the current state of the United States, and what he had planned for it going forward. Right. So I want to go on ahead, not to keep it waiting, not to go into a diatribe about anything else. I just kind of want to dive into, I guess I want to wing it really. I just want to kind of dive into the State of the Union and what I saw, what I liked, what I disliked, you name it. Now, first off, I want to say it was a very insightful State of the Union. I would also say it was also somewhat entertaining. I got some laughs out of it from both Trump. I've also got some laughs from the Democrats and their distasteful behavior throughout the entire speech. Trump wasn't rambling like he has a tendency to do. He didn't seem so disjointed in his thoughts because a lot of times with Trump, one of the things he struggles with a lot is that when he gets into a conversation, he has a very huge tendency to just ramble on, and it doesn't really lead to like landing the plane, if you will, with his points. So a lot of times his thoughts are just kind of everywhere. He just jumps from one thing to another. But this time he seemed like he was straightforward and he had a thought in mind as to where he wanted to go with this conversation. From what I saw, he touted his accomplishments of what he had done within the first 30 days. If many of you have been following through, whether if you're Democrat or Republican, you know that Trump has had over 100, I think over 100 for the most part, over 100 executive orders signed, much related to immigration, much related to the gender issue, the gender conflict that resides here in the United States about whether if there's multiple genders or not. He's made it into a male and back to male and female, which you would not think we would have to make an executive order of, but when one side caters to a fringe group in society, that kind of happens, and common sense has to kind of be put back into order when we have these extreme ideals get put forth and everybody is forced to comply with those extreme ideals. It would have been one thing if this was just something that the fringe they believed in, they talked about, they've discussed it with mainstream society, but mainstream society just said, listen, we respect your humanities, and if that's what you want to believe, that's fine, just don't enforce it upon us. Some of these people within that very group that are literally less than 1% of the population have attempted to try to force it and implement policy because of it. So much so, a lot was the executive orders were established in order to prevent this same group of people, men, the men in particular, who are in transition of being women. They wanted to get into women's sports. They were breaking records within women's sports. That was a problem. Trump resolved that with the executive order. Officiating English as the official language of the United States. Now, whoop my ass if you want to, talk shit to me if you want to, but for as much as I love history, that is one thing I did not know about the United States was that the English wasn't an official language. I was talking to my best friend about this, and he thought I knew. I actually didn't. Apparently, for me, it was not common knowledge. And for as much as I know about the United States, that I didn't know. But that explains a lot. But we'll leave that there. We know that he officiated English for that. We know that he took, obviously, DEI initiatives out of a lot of different occupations, such as the military, the federal, and the private sector. Now, of course, naturally, there are, I want to say, small groups of private companies here and there. They obviously don't mind keeping DEI initiatives because they genuinely believe it. And obviously, this is coming from blue states that are ran by Democratic governors, mayors, you name it. So they're likely to try to follow through with it because they believe in that. But for the most part, he's executed that. He's also created the Department of Government Efficiency, as you all know, as Doge, having Elon cutting spending and all these different things. And there's controversies surrounding that. But I'm not going to get into it. I'm just overall recapping on what I saw from the State of the Union. He touted a lot of his accomplishments. He followed by talking about what he had in store for the country. But also, like a typical Trump then faces the crowd that is against him, and he lets them know about what they were up to, the kind of madness that they had been causing in the previous administration. Also, followed by talking about their frivolous spending. And if many of you had heard just some, not even all of it, but just some of the frivolous spending that had been done on so many different variations of experiments and concepts and ideas that were happening in other countries, particularly in places like Serbia, the Middle East, even Africa. It's freaking insane how much spending we were doing on things the American people didn't even know anything about. And yet this was not up for debate. When this was congressionally approved, we were sending this stuff out. This was money that was being spent on things related to like trans comics or atheism in one country, along with some Green Deal initiatives that were happening. And that was not leading anywhere. Like there was so much that he mentioned that honestly, this audit was perfect. I'm glad it did happen. I'm glad that there was reaction in saying what the hell was happening with our money under our noses. Let's not even negate the fact that we were giving billions to Ukraine because of what was happening with the war between Zelensky and Putin, or Ukraine and Russia in this instance. And that man kept coming back over and over and over, begging for money and weapons for us to assist. And this war still has not ended. And if I'm not mistaken, Russia entered Ukraine in 2014, I think, and he took over Crimea. It's now 2025, and we're still supporting these people. At some point, this war has to end. At some point. But we're not even going to go into that because I even saw the speech that happened between Zelensky, Trump, and Vance. And even that was absolutely ridiculous. Nevertheless, Trump goes on. He talks about his accomplishments. He criticizes the Democratic Party. He talks about what's in store, what he has in store for the future. And for the most part, the State of the Union got, for the most part, overly positive reviews. According to polls that were coming out, over 60% of people they actually had positive reactions to what had transpired. A lot of people really didn't disagree with what had happened. There was actually a couple of things I appreciated that Trump did. He addressed the situation with Lake and Riley. That was something that was extremely important because, as you all know, that was an unfortunate incident that happened where she was a college student. I think if I'm not mistaken, and you all can correct me if I'm wrong, she was going for her nursing degree. And apparently this illegal immigrant came along and he basically murdered her. This is a transnational criminal, and he killed a U.S. citizen, in which, because of that, that became something that everyone kind of catapulted their minds into thinking, yeah, illegal immigration has to stop. Because not everyone coming over here with the intent of so-called trying to live a better life, they were not coming over here for that. And for anyone that is justifying, I don't give a damn how much you dislike Trump. Focus on that situation alone. That's fucked up for anybody to go through. None of us would want that to happen to any of our loved ones. It's bad enough we have criminals here in the United States we're seldom addressing. But then you want someone that's coming outside of our country come in and then they just go off and just willy-nilly kill people, committing DUIs. One was even in New York, and she had flames fanned against her. She died from this. This illegal immigrant came over here and he killed this woman by fanning the flames that he set with his sweater, and then sat down and watched this woman get killed. Watch this woman burn away into a crisp. That's wrong. That's wrong. And we're supposed to allow that to keep happening. I humbly 100% disagree with it. And if it means that we have to get rid of these people within our country who are committing these crimes, who are committing that type of violence, despite the fact that they came over here illegally already, they committed a federal crime already. But then you want to be a murderer on top of that too, and you're a repeat offender? Oh, you definitely, because I promise you, if they don't get the death penalty, you certainly need to get the fuck out of here. You just do. You got to get the fuck out of here. Because that is wrong beyond measure. Not only do you come over here illegally, but you come over here and kill our people too? Oh, bro, if somebody don't come after you, the United States should. And if Tom Homan gets a hold of you, I hope he does take you back to your people. And your people better accept you. And they need to deal with you personally. Because you shouldn't come over here committing such foul behaviors. Because it's already bad enough that you and your people, doesn't matter who you are. If you're an illegal, you're an illegal. Black, white, in between, doesn't matter. That's fucked up to do. But he addressed the Lake and Riley scenario. I noticed the Democrats did not yield applause for that. He dealt with he also there was a brother, a little brother, his name is DJ, and I believe he's black and Hispanic, but essentially he's always wanted to be a type of officer. He always wanted to be in uniform. He has terminal, I believe he has terminal cancer. He's a cancer survivor, actually, because the doctors told him he only had months to live. But turns out he's there 6 years later. And of course, if you want to apply that to divine intervention, you can. I would even also say that it was a blessing that he was even granted that, because doctors tell you a lot of things and say he doesn't have long to live. And then lo and behold, well, something proves them wrong. In my humble opinion, I believe, yes, Yah definitely proved them wrong. He was given an additional 6 years to continue living and onward. And Donald Trump, as a result, because he applied to be a member of the, if I'm not mistaken, the Secret Service, on the spot, his application was accepted. And Donald Trump actually announced it to him. And in addition, Donald Trump gave him the honors by telling him he was an honorary member of the Secret Service agency. Even gave a hug to one of the Secret Service agents, which was absolutely great, which was absolutely phenomenal. I'm happy for him. I hope he goes far in life with it. And even then, going into the things I don't like, the Democrats obviously sat there. They didn't clap. They didn't applaud. They didn't do anything. They just sat there with mean, ugly looking faces. Like they were disgusted. But you know what I did hear from that other side? Oh, Trump is doing this as a spectacle. Trump is doing this um, as a show to try to prove that he's somehow for people of color and minorities, but he really isn't. So because the man did not, so because the man actually did something, sorry, let me rephrase. So because the man actually did something, that means that he's not for minorities because you biasly feel that he's doing this for a spectacle when the Democrats didn't do this at all under the Biden administration, was not announced as an honorary member of the Secret Service agencies. First off, presidents can do that if they want to. They can grant wishes to whomever they so choose, like a genie in a bottle. If the Democrats wanted to do that, they could have done it. Strangely enough, they didn't. And so why is that? But then the right could say the same thing about you. That the only reason that you're perhaps doing what you do for black people or anybody in between or any person of color is for a spectacle. But deep down in your heart of hearts, you just want to help people of color. Am I correct? You just want to give someone a one up. Or there was somebody whose story that really moved your heart. You actually decided this was something that you could see yourself doing for them and let the world see I care about all. I care about people like DJ, despite what the left may say about how I feel about people of color. He had the power to prove it. So whether if it was a spectacle or not, I would look at it as a W for DJ. I don't give a fuck about the politics. Because let me say this. If I was in you all's shoes, despite how much I hate Trump, if DJ got something that actually fulfilled his dream, despite the fact he could have died years ago, and he's here today, and he was actually called an honorary member of the Secret Service agency, you know what the hell I would have did as just merely a human being? I would have been like I would have stood up. That is awesome. I'm glad that he got what he wanted. Even if I don't like that man that's standing there on that podium, even if I don't give a damn about Trump, I can be honest. I can be fair. And I can be like, you know what? I appreciate that because he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to do anything. I would have stood up. I wouldn't have gave a damn what the Democrats think. If people were sitting up there hissing and getting pissed off and be like, why are you doing that? No, 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 no. Shut your ass up. Enough. Enough. I don't like him, hypothetically, if I was on in their shoes. Hypothetically, yeah, I would have stood up because DJ deserved that. What are we doing? We're sitting up here bitching. We're bitching. We have no alternative. We have nothing to provide. We lost. He lost. And you all want to sit here and have this immense amount of hatred for this man who's at least doing something that we didn't even halfway think to do. At least he gave him his dream. What did we do? But kept bitching, complaining, and moaning about how this orange man is in office. And he's going to do this, that, and the third. And everybody that voted for him, they're going to have remorse. And we're going to be the saviors again. No, fuck our being a savior. Fuck being a messiah. If he's doing something and we think it's wrong and it's not going to yield the best results, let's come up with an alternative. What are you doing? What is soaking and bitching going to do? Okay, fine. He's a piece of shit. So what? He's not doing what I want. He's not doing what the Democrats do. So what? He won. And over 89% of counties that didn't even give a shit about Trump, all of a sudden popularity increases among them. And we claim that we're the better half, but yet the American, over half of the American people, plus some people on our own side, are saying we're doing something wrong. And we want these same people to come back 2 years later to us? Look at how we're acting. Look at how we condemn the people that were on our side. Now they done went to the Republicans. But the spirit that the Democrats are operating under, ladies and gentlemen, is not even a surprise. When I saw that, I'm like, continue doing that. Continue it. Y'all could not applaud. And this is what was crazy about it. Y'all couldn't applaud for anything that the Republicans were doing right. And it just proved the point. It proved the point. Everything a Republican does, they can never do anything right. Or shall I say, everything Donald Trump does. He can't do everything right. Nothing he can do is ever right. Y'all just said to hell with it. We're just going to go ride this wave all the way through. And I can appreciate it. Everyone else is talking about how horrible you are. You know what I say? I'm glad you're doing it. Continue, because you're not going to win that way. That's not how you win. In a spiritual sense, it's not how you win a soul. It's not how you get people to change. Acting that way. When it's hatred accompanied with spite, when it's hatred accompanied with envy, when it's hatred accompanied with ignorance, that spirit is ugly. And what the Democrats did at the State of the Union, that's exactly what happened. So while people on the Republican side are like, why are y'all acting so demonic? Why are y'all acting so ugly? No. What do you mean? Let them continue acting that way. They're operating under a certain spirit right now. They're operating under a certain attitude. They can't come out of it. Something has them hardened. It's a hardening of the heart. Whatever is going on, this is perfect. Because they need to learn exactly who they are. And anyone out there that are just like them right now, including you voters, the same way. It should happen. It should. We can call it out. We can say this is crazy, but it's not a surprise, ladies and gentlemen. That even if you can't stand and clap and applaud for a cancer survivor, and let me say this, it's not every single Democrat. Some Democrats were moved by it. Without complaint, without some side side road or drive by comment or anything like that, trying to sound like a smartass or be an asshole. It was just a genuine listen. That's something that's great. I'm glad that that happened. Bottom line, period, left it alone. But most people, crossing of the legs, moving of the neck, raising the props, saying F Trump all the entire time. But you didn't give a damn about that young man. You didn't give a damn about Lake and Riley. And that's cool. Let it be. If they don't, it's not the end of the world. The point is, we're Americans. There's a lot of things we're not going to like. There's going to be people like those people in Congress who are just completely for themselves. They're not really for the American people. They can continue sitting up there with their uppity, sedity asses and sit up there and act like as if they're better than everyone else. But at the end of the day, guess what? Americans voted for that man. And he's doing a way more, even whether if you agree or disagree, he's doing a hell of a lot more than what Joe Biden did within the last 4 years. He's giving you something to talk, to love, and hate. He's giving you something to talk about. Can your president, Joe Biden, really say the same at this juncture, at this speed? Not at all. But we're going to leave it right there. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my take on the State of the Union. I hope you all enjoyed that little rant, that rant that I gave about the State of the Union. Have a good day or good night wherever you reside. I thank you for listening. If you got this far, please share, like, comment, subscribe. I'd like to hear your opinions about it. What did you think about the State of the Union? What did you think about what I said? If you have something to say to that, or if you just want to generally talk about it, despite what I said, that's fine. I want to hear what your voice is in the comment section below if you'd like to have that discussion. Otherwise, if you enjoyed it, do the other things if need be. And if not, I just appreciated your listening ear. All right, people. Peace.